Rivers are born of nature, but think of one crafted by human hands. A river that stretches across the rough terrain of Afghanistan longer than the distance from Los Angeles to San Francisco. This is the Kosa Canal, a daring engineering invention that is set to become Asia's longest artificial river. But will it work out? Or is it just another dream? Let's find out. Kosa Canal, the origin. But why even call it a dream in the first place? Well, this massive project is supposed to be longer than the Nile River. But let's dive into details here. The canal story stretches back to 1973, when Muhammad Daoud gained the Afghan presidency. Having been known for his progressive policies, Daoud thought of the canal as a foundation of agricultural development. This would be achieved by tapping into the lifeblood of the Amu Darya River, one of Central Asia's longest rivers, and diverting 10 billion cubic meters of water annually. The canal was aimed to irrigate a massive 550,000 hectares of desert, transforming it into fertile farmland. The project promised to be a game-changer for Afghanistan's northern provinces, but unfortunately, the decades that followed witnessed the canal remain an unrealized dream till later in early 2022 when a big shift occurred. However, the Taliban government, upon assuming power, prioritized the canal's construction. Satellite imagery documented impressive progress over 100 kilometers, about 62 miles of canal carved out in just 10 months. October 2023 marked another big milestone with the completion of the first phase, paving the way for the second phase to start without delay, and it is planned to take at least 12 months to complete. This phase stretches 177 kilometers, about half the distance from Washington, D.C. to New York City, starting in the Delwat Abdad district of Balkh province and concluding in Onkoy City, Farab province, with a diversion through Jowzjan's Akcha area. The phase is an important piece of the puzzle as it is aiming to irrigate 300,000 hectares of dry land in Jowzjan alone, contributing a lot to the project's overall goal of transforming 550,000 hectares of desert into fertile farmland. But what has finally led to what was once a dream into a reality? Decades of war shelved the project. Now, under Taliban rule, the canal inches closer to reality. Has a change in priorities or a new technology revived the dream? Are there external backers or partners involved? Let's dig into the reasons behind this push and explore the potential consequences of this ambitious project. The inception of the project. Well, the sudden progress on the Kosa Canal can be traced back to a single important resource: water. Decades of war and a changing climate have left Afghanistan facing the harsh reality of water scarcity. Access to clean water, once a basic necessity, is now a daily struggle for millions. This crisis isn't just humanitarian, but also threatens food production, public health, and even national security. The canal then becomes more than just a project, as it's a potential lifeline for a parched nation. But can this river, stretching over 2,100 square miles, truly be the answer? Afghan farmers know water scarcity isn't a distant threat, but a daily struggle. Nonetheless, declining rainfall has choked once productive lands, leaving them dry and desperate. Aging irrigation infrastructure further hinders efforts to manage limited water supplies. The consequences of this scarcity have led to decreased agricultural output, resulting in a nation struggling to feed itself. Millions, especially children and women, face hunger, with their health hanging in the balance. This desperate situation demands a grand solution, and the canal emerges as a potential answer. This agricultural revolution could be a game changer, boosting food production and propelling Afghanistan towards self-sufficiency. But the benefits come with the price tag. The financial implications of such a big project can't be ignored. The canal promises a brighter future, but is it a beacon of hope or a risky gamble taken with unforeseen consequences? Let's now delve deeper into these questions in the next chapter. Funding for the project. With an estimated budget exceeding $600 million, the Kosa Canal represents a significant investment for Afghanistan, a nation struggling with numerous challenges. Over 6,000 workers are hard at work, wielding excavators and heavy machinery to carve the canal through the landscape. But questions remain about the project's true cost. It's not only in financial terms, but also in its potential impact on the environment and sensitive international relations. How will this project affect Afghanistan's standing in the world? Unlike many large-scale infrastructure projects in developing countries, the financial burden of the canal falls on the shoulders of Afghanistan itself, relying primarily on domestic resources. Revenue generated from coal mining, a controversial industry with its own environmental concerns, is a key pillar of the project's funding. But with the project consuming a significant amount of the country's annual tax income, potentially diverting resources from other critical areas, one might ask, is this the best allocation of funds? While the Afghan Ministry of Finance allocated additional funds to the project in the latest budget, the long-term financial sustainability of the canal remains a source of concern. However, as life has taught us, nothing great comes easy. The construction of the river has led to various unforeseen challenges. But will these problems be too big to solve, or are they just another step towards improvement? Let's now dive into that to better understand them and provide insights into how they can be addressed and what steps are necessary for the successful completion of the project. Challenges encountered. So, the project is not just about agricultural revival and economic opportunity. There's a whole web of technical challenges, environmental concerns, and unresolved transboundary water issues that comes along with it. And for the success of the project? Well, it's a balancing act. It's about addressing these important issues before they turn this project into a record of good intentions that couldn't be delivered. The construction methods used on the project are a bit concerning, as they've been described as rudimentary, relying on a simple digging approach. This raises questions about its long-term viability. And there's more. The lack of proper reinforcement or lining for the canal's bottom and banks is a significant oversight, especially considering the arid desert environment. Also, the sandy soil is so porous that the water intended to irrigation might just seep into the earth before it even reaches its destination. This potential for massive leakages threatens to undermine the project's core objective. Adding to the anxieties, there was a major breach reported in December 2023. This incident is a stark reminder of potential inefficiencies or flaws in the construction process, and raises questions about the canal's ability to function effectively. Now, when it comes to environmental impact, it's still a big question mark. The Amu Darya River is already under strain, as it is feeding into the already shrinking Aral Sea. Diverting such a huge amount of water resources could have big ecological effects downstream, impacting not just Afghanistan, but also neighboring countries. Upon completion of the canal, it's estimated to divert 20% of the flow from the river. While this might breathe life into Afghan agriculture, it comes at a hefty cost to the entire river basin. Also, considering that the river is already under immense strain, burdened by years of unsustainable water usage practices in upstream countries, the canal, along with the upstream construction of the Rogan hydroelectric station in Tajikistan, threatens to worsen the situation. The construction of the canal has also exposed a critical gap in governance within the river basin. When construction began in 2022, Afghanistan was not a signatory to any regional or international treaty governing the use of transboundary water resources. This lack of a formal framework for managing shared resources creates significant challenges. Countries downstream, particularly Uzbekistan, have expressed their concerns about the project's potential negative impact on their own agricultural sectors. However, the absence of prearranged dispute resolution procedures further complicates matters. In 2023, talks were held between Uzbek officials and the Afghan government, but unfortunately, no concrete agreements were reached. This raises future tensions and potential conflicts over water rights. While the challenges faced by the project are important, it's equally worth considering the views of those directly and indirectly affected by it. So let's now dive into that. Public opinion on the project. To get a better grasp of this, let's first look at the local communities. For them, the canal is seen as a beacon of hope in an otherwise arid landscape, a potential lifeline that could change their lives. On the other hand, international observers have a different perspective. They express concern for the nation's downstream and the already fragile environment. In the Afghan villages along the canal's path, anticipation is in the air. Village chief Muhammad Ishfaq echoed the views of many when he expressed his wish that the canal had been there earlier, believing it could have solved many problems. However, beyond Afghanistan's borders, the project evokes a different reaction. Uzbekistan, the main country downstream of the Amu Darya River, views the project with apprehension. So, how can we ensure that everyone benefits? How can we protect the environment while building this canal? The answer lies in finding a balance. Agreements need to be reached between the countries involved, and they need to understand the potential environmental impact of the project and find ways to mitigate it. But how can we achieve all this? The key is open communication. This way, the Kosa Canal can bring about a better future not just for Afghanistan, but for the entire region. So, will the project be able to overcome these challenges? And will it truly bring a brighter future for everyone? Only time will tell. Feel free to share your thoughts in the comment section below, and remember to like and subscribe for more updates.